Hello everyone, welcome to this class. In this class, we're going to deal with logarithm of numbers. Majorly, we are going to focus on logarithm of base 10. Now, what is logarithm? That's the first thing we are going to deal with. Logarithm, or short form log, simply means, let me put it as a layman. We know when we did the indices, we have something like this. We have 10 raised to power 2 will give me what? 100, right? This is indices. But now in logarithm, you have something like log 100. I've been told to find log 100. And mind you, whenever you're dealing with logarithm, whenever if there is a base that's supposed to be here, if you do not see any base here, just know that it's log 10. That's the standard in mathematics. So log 100 now is 2. What they are trying to say is, what number will 10 be raised to the power to give you 100? Let's assume that, let's say log for another number, log 2, 32. For other numbers, you usually see it. So what number will 2 be raised to the power to give you 32? So the answer is 5. So log 32 in base 2 is 5. Log 100 in base 10 is 2. You understand? Let me call this A and call this B. So you can also convert this back to indices. To convert it back to indices is very simple. Just here is 10. Now say 10 raised to power 2 will give me whatever that is here. So let me convert the first one. I'll have log 100 is 2. I'll just say 10 raised to power 2 is 100. Is now in indices form. The second one, log 232 is 5. Just say 2 raised to power 5 will give you 32. 2 raised to power 5 will give you 32. So logarithm is simply the power you raise the base to get the number you are looking for. Layman explanation. Now, before we start this logarithm of base 10, let me divide this into 2 so that we'll spend more time on this page, so we can see everything we are doing. Before we start this logarithm, I will explain the things we need in this class. First, since we are dealing with logarithm in base 10, we'll be dealing with so many decimals. So first, I have to introduce what we call a statistic table and formula. In Nigeria here, most of the time we call it the 4-figure table because most of the answers are in 4-figure. Most of the answers you get are in 4 figures. So I'll teach you how to use this with respect to solving for logarithm. It's used for solving a lot of things, both the sine, cosine, but in this class we are dealing with logarithm. So that's the first thing. Let me call it statistics. Table. I've already explained that one. Second thing we're going to look into is what we call the characteristics. What is characteristics? I'll use our class in standard form to explain it. Characteristics simply means that with respect to this logarithm of base 10, let me just put it here, base 10. Characteristics simply means the power of 10. Let me put it this way. Mind you, the explanation I'm giving is just layman explanation, so you understand it, not to give you one English definition. Now, when we are doing standard form, we are giving this number, and when we change it to standard form, look at the power that 10 has here, 6. That's the characteristics. For those, this is our previous class, you can check it, or I might put the link in the description. The class before this one, you just check it and see everything we did here. So this is the characteristics. For this case, you have 0, 0, 0. Here, the characteristics for this one is -5, -5. For here, the characteristics is -3. So the power of 10 when you convert that number to standard form is the characteristics. And I taught you how to do standard form. When you have a whole number, wherever the decimal point is, move it till the first number before the first number. Whatever you count, in this case, the decimal is here. Okay, let me use this one. Decimal is here. I moved 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You just stop before the last digit, and that's why you're having 6 here. For the decimal numbers, you move it over all the zeros. Once you cross the first digit, you stop. In this case, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But the difference between decimal and whole number is the decimal will come with negative sign. So these are the characteristics. So I think we'll solve for characteristics. Next thing we are going to look for is what we call the mantissa. mantissa, if I'm correct. What does mantissa mean? Mantissa is after you are given a number, you finally find the characteristics. When you're looking for logarithm of base 10, let me give you an example. We have 5, 7, 2, 8. Now, what will be the characteristics of this number? There is a hidden decimal point here from what I thought. You move it 1, 2, 3. So this number, when you convert it to standard form, will be 5.728 times 10 raised to power 3, right? Now, here is the characteristics, the 3 here. Then the mantissa is that when you are solving for logarithm of number, once you have gotten the characteristics, you will now use your formula table or four-figure table, whatever you call it or whatever you know it with, and now solve this same number. Whatever you get will be like, let's put it this way. The characteristics will be here, dot. The mantissa will be the next four figures you will get. I know some of these things will not be clear, but once we start solving, you understand, because I will use example to explain it better. So that's why you notice that you have something like this: 5.7.28, 5.7.2.8, and 5.728. Now, if you convert these numbers to standard form, the first one will be, you just move one step. That's 5.728 times 10 raised power 1. The second one will be move two steps. Now you move 1, 2. It will be 5.728 times 10 raised to power 2. Second one, you're not moving and it is already where you want it to be. You understand? Before the last digit. So in this case, it will be 5.728 times 10 raised power 0. Now, when you don't move at all, I know we just explained this when we are doing standard form, so let me take my time. When you didn't move already, when the decimal point is already where it's supposed to be, that means you're not moving further. In that case, the power of 10 will be 0, because it's making more sense from our law of indices. Anything raised power 0 is 1, so 1 times the digit is still the same. So now, when you've gotten, so why am I doing this? The reason of doing this is to let you know that when you look for the logarithm of this number, whatever you get here is what you get here, is what you get here. Now, the only difference will now be these characteristics. In this case, let's assume the answer is, or let me use a real answer. So, if you are to use the real number, the logarithm of this 4-digit, now I'm talking about the 4-digit, not, I didn't pick any of the number, just 5728. The logarithm will give you 7580. Mind you, this is what you will get here, this is what you get here, this is what you get here. But there is only one thing that will make it different. What is it? The characteristics. For this one, the answer will be, for this first one, let me call this A, B, and C. The answer will now be 1 for A, 0.7580. For B, it will be 2.7580. And for C, it will be 0.7580. Are we together? So the decimal point of this logarithm is now what we call the mantissa. This is what you'll be looking for in your statistic table. This is the decimal point of it. Once you get so look for the logarithm of a number in summary, just get the characteristics, which is a power of 10 when you convert it to standard form. Then overlook the decimal, just solve for the number as if it's a whole number. Whatever you get is your answer. Then you put the characteristics in front of it. I can also put extra one. Let me say D. I have something like 0.05728. When you convert this to standard form, this is now decimal. You now have 1, 2. So it will be 5.728 times 10 raised power minus 2, because now it's decimal. So here will be minus. So when you solve the logarithm for this, you have something like minus 2.7580. So you see the rule of the characteristics and the rule of the mantissa. So now let's start solving for example. So we'll start from the easy one, which is example 9. I've already written it out here. Just pray we can see this. First is A, logarithm of 3.7. So what are we going to do? First, we'll find the characteristics. Remember what I told you. To convert this to standard form, it is still 3.7 times 10 raised to the power 0. So our characteristics is what? 0. Because the dot is already here, we're not moving it. So the next thing we are going to do is now use our formula table to find the logarithm of 37. So that's where we'll now go next. So when you pick this formula table, you can also check it from the table of contents with the part you want to deal with. You see all the stuff you can do with it. But now we'll go to logarithm of numbers. Logarithm of numbers. Make sure you are there. So don't go and look for another thing and later you say we're not getting the same answer. Make sure you are where I am. Also, this at the back of this textbook, you can also see all these things here. The textbook we are using is New General Mathematics. I've said this so many times. So if you go to the back of it, you can see all those figures, all the table here. So if you don't have the formula table, you can also solve from the back here. Make sure you go to see logarithm of numbers. Whatever I get here is what I also get from my book, the formula statistic table. So let me use this. This one is more comfortable and is bigger. So what we are looking for is logarithm of 37. So what you do is when you go to the logarithm, just look for 37. This is 37 here. What do we get? We get 5682. That is our mantissa, right? So you just write out your mantissa is 5682. This is our mantissa. Let me call it man. Right, so your logarithm will now be, answer will now be 0.5682. See how simple it is. This is the simple part because we'll still deal with numbers that have more figures here and I'll tell you how to go about those ones. So now you understand our characteristics and our what? Mantissa and our what? Statistics table. These are the 3 terms I explained earlier. Statistics table, characteristics, and mantissa. So with this example, I believe we'll sum it up. Now let's solve for the second one, B. 3.7. Wait, I see B is 37, right? 37. First, convert it to standard form. You have, there is a hidden decimal point. You move one step. So to be 3.7 times 10 raised to the power 1. You just move only one. So our characteristics, I'm just doing all this so it will be clearer. You don't need to go through the stress of standard form if you already know how to jump steps, but I have to do it so that I don't miss steps. So everyone of us can follow up. So our characteristics is here is now 1. Is 1. And remember what I told you. So long as all the numbers are the same, the mantissa will also be the same. The only difference will now be the what do you call it? The characteristics. So 37 and 37 will also give me the same mantissa, which is 5682. So my logarithm will now be 1.5682. This is my answer for the second one. Now the third one is C, which is 3700. So convert this to standard form. It will move 1, 2, 3. So standard form will give me 3.7. What I said, you don't have 0 behind decimal point. Times 10 raised to the power what? 3. So my characteristics here is 3. Mantissa. For those of, I know some of us will be wondering, oh, what about this 0 behind? So it's 0. See, when I converted this standard form, the 0 is out. So we still have only these 2 digits. So you just make use of the digit you get when you convert it to standard form. forget about the any other. Most of the time, we can only use 0 when it is in between, but just to avoid this 0 issue, once you convert it to standard form, the digits you see, those are the digits you are using. In this case, you are still seeing only this 37. So our mantissa will still be 5, 6, 8, 2. So my answer for this will now be 3.568. So let's go to the next example where we have more figures to deal with. Please pay a very good example to this example 10. The A part says, the A question says 37.4. Now, if you look at the previous one we solved, we are solving for 37, but now we have extra digit attached to it. So pay a very good example. So what you're going to do is first convert this to standard form to get the characteristics. Convert this to standard form, the thing will just move one step, 1. It will be 3.74 times 10 raised to power what? 1. So our characteristics already is what? 1. Now let's look for the mantissa. Now you have 3 digits. Now pay attention, this one is different. I'll bring back my formula table. Now the first thing you are going to do is the first 2 digits is what you look for in this place that you have starting from 10 to 99. Are you getting it? Start from 10 to 99. Those are the place you look for the first 2 digits of the number you are dealing with. When you are dealing with this logarithm, please focus more on digits. Forget about this decimal point and all those stuffs. Once decimal point is already taken care of by the characteristics. So when you want to use your formula table, focus more on the digit. So now I have 37, which is my first 2 digits. So this is 37. You now hold it. But because this one has extra number, which is 4, so that's where you make use of these numbers here that is from 0 to 9. Now I have 374. I've already looked for my 37, so I'm holding it with my left hand. This is my 37. Now this is 4. I will now take it 4. You understand? I'll now look for where 4 connect to my 37. This is 37 and that is 4. See where both of them connect, the same row. So this is the logarithm I'm using. I will no longer use here. Are we together? So I will use the one that stopped with 4. So this is 5729. So my mantissa is 5729. So my answer now will be 1.5729. This is my answer. So we get a new experience from this example, meaning that when you have more than 3, the first one we did is when you have only 2. For only 2, just look for the number, and the first you just look for this 37, and the first figure here is the answer. But now we have a third digit. It will no longer be the first figure. We now go towards where that third digit is. In this case, is 4. If it is 5, you go to 5. If it is 6, go to 6. But here is 4. So go to 4 and connect it back to the 37, and we'll now use whatever that we have there. Are we together? So that's what we learned here. Now we have example B to deal with. Example B is 4 now. We have 3, 4, 6. Let's convert to standard form. It's already here. We don't need to move it. It's already where it's supposed to be. So it will be 3.476 times 10 raised to power 0. So our characteristics in this case is 0. Now the mantissa. So pay very close attention because this summarizes everything finally. We now have 37. First I go to 37. Right? The next thing is 4. I go to 4. And when I go to 4, I get 5729. Basically what we did in previous example. So this is 37 4. From here to here, if you solve from here to here, I'm getting 5729. Now I missed an introduction. I talked about the statistics table, I talked about the characteristics, I talked about the mantissa, and I forgot one. Let me put the number 4. I'll call it mean difference. I'll use this example we are solving now to explain what mean difference is. Mean difference is very important when we have up to 4 digits. So I'll use this example we are solving now to take care of it. So let me go back to what I'm solving. Now I've already gotten from here to here. Now we have 6 to deal with. That's where the concept of difference comes in. The fourth one, you look for it in the difference column of the statistics table. Now look at this statistics table. We've already sorted out what this place means. We sorted out this is for the 3rd digit. Now look at here. I don't know if I need to zoom this or we are seeing it properly this way. Okay, let me zoom it a bit. I think it's bigger now. If you look at what is here, you see that it is called difference. That's the mean difference. So this is what take care of the 4th digit. In this case, we've already gotten our 37 and we've gotten the 4. So you just write this out. Now you're going to look for the difference. So the number we have is 6, right? So you're going to look for this difference of 6. See 6 here. You connect it back to our 37. This is our 37 here. So the difference is what? 7. The difference is 7. So I'll tell you what you do with this 7. Let me zoom out. Now, we already know that the difference relating to 6 is 7. So what you do with the 7 is, remember this is on the first thing is you add it here. So add the difference to the number and you will get 5736. So this is your real mantissa. So your final answer will now be your characteristics dot your mantissa. This is not hard, but I know some of us might now be grasping for air at this point, but with further examples we'll solve, you'll understand it better and better. So let me summarize what we are doing. When you are given a logarithm of a number to find, first find the characteristics using your standard form. This standard form is not necessary, but I need to put it because it clears any error of whether 0 is extra 0 and the rest. So after solving for your characteristics, take it out. Next, you are looking for your mantissa. Focus on the digit. So in this case, it's 37. Now, because there is a 4th angle, you go to where the 4 lies and connect it. 37, because you have the 4th digit, you go to where 4 lies and connect it, and you will now get your answer. This is your answer. Then the 4th digit is used to get the difference you add to this answer. You go to the difference column, look for the number that appears in the 4th digit, and connect it back to the line of the first 2 digits you are solving for, and add it. So let's solve more examples and get ourselves more familiar. you see that this is 7. So the difference in this case is what? 8. So we are adding 8 to this. We just add 8 to it. It will be 5 if I'm not wrong, and 2 and 7 and 5. So this is our mantissa. So your answer is now 0.5725. So we'll still confirm this and also cross-check it from our exercise answer. So the second one we are going to solve for is h. We have log 3.799. Converting to standard form, let me write it here. It will be 3.799 times 10 raised to the power 0. That's the standard form. So our characteristics in this case is 0. So we'll now look for 37.9. Bring our table. This is 37 and that is 9. We'll come down to 9 and connect it to 37. That's 5786. So I'll write it out. 5786. Now the difference of 9. So 37, 9, which is 5786. So the difference is also 9. So here is 10 for the difference. If you take it up, you see it's 9. The same line, 10. So I'm adding 10 to this value. I'll get 6, 9, 5, 7. So my mantissa is 5796. So my answer is 0.5796. Let's solve for the final one. The final one is J. I have log 3.715. So the standard form is 3.715 times 10 raised to the power 0. So my characteristics is 0. So I look for 37, order 1, difference 5. So this is 37 here. The order of 1, this is 1. If you go up, you see it here. This is 1. That's 5694. So I'll write it out. 5694. Difference 5. So 37, order 1, difference 5. This is 5. We'll go down to 37. Make sure you are index correct. If you let me say you gonna mistakenly enter the wrong place, you get a wrong answer. So make sure you're in the right place. This is difference 5, which is 6. Check it straight up. 6. So you're adding 5 to this. So this is 9, 9, 6, and 5. So your mantissa is this. So your answer is 0.5699. This is your answer. So the next thing we're going to do is to cross-check. According to the question, we are being told to cross-check if those answers are correct. Now, these are my answers. And these are the answers they say they got. So for the number F, they got 5690, while we got 5725. So I can say F is wrong from their own end. Let's go to H. From H, they have 5796. I got 5796. I can say H is correct. So the last one is F. J, sorry. J, they got 5700 and I got 5699. So I can say their J is wrong. So how do we now confirm if we are not blabbing? This is exercise 1H. So we'll go to the exercise side of it and see if we are correct. Exercise 1H. This is exercise 1H. This is exercise 1H. So we deal with. So this is exercise 1H. So what he said is part C, F, and I are incorrect. The rest are correct. If you look at it, F, from our own, we said that F is wrong. So the rest are correct. The only difference in my own is that I also said that J is wrong. Look at it. I got 5699 and they got 5700. Remember, this is very, very close to this. Probably the news approximation. This is very, 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 very close to this. So I can say here is correct. I was expecting them to get exactly what I got. So here is correct. They said that this is wrong and they said the rest is correct, apart from the ones they listed out. So this summarizes this part of our class. Now, what does this mean? Remember what we said that logarithm means. We said that logarithm means that log of base 10 the number. This is the answer. So what I'm just trying to let you know is that when you raise 10 to all these numbers that we are getting as answer, when you put, let me say something like 10 raised to power 0.5699, you are getting the number we started solving for in the first place. So when you raise 10 to this power, you get this. When you raise 10 to this power, you get that. When you raise 10 to this power, I don't know which of them, you get this. So this is the summary of our class. Thank you, and see you in the next class. If you have any question, drop in the comment section. Okay, there is one more thing I want to add. Let's say you are being told to look for the log of 11. We all know that when you change 11 to standard form, we have 1.1 times 10 raised to power 1, right? So meaning that our characteristics is 1. The next thing is to look for the mantissa. 11 in 4-figure table. This is 11. We'll take the value, the digit. This is 0. The mantissa is 0.0. Sorry, what am I putting for? 0414. This is 11. So when you find the answer, you now add the characteristics. You have something like 1.0414 as your answer, right? What do you notice? You notice that after 11, what do you have next? This is 11. After 11, what do you have next? You have nothing. That's why we are taking it from the 0 column. You observe that all the examples we solve, none of them have something like, let me say something like 101. So in a case where you have something like this, I just want to clear this air so that we don't have that confusion. I've been told to look for the log of this. First, to change this to standard form, you have 1.101 times 10 raised to power 3. So your characteristics is 3. Now you're looking for your mantissa. So the first thing you're going to do, 11. Now what is here? 0. So you look for it under the 0 column. This is what I want to clear. When you have 0 here, because we never did that, in case if someone, because normally by common sense, supposed to know that when we did 11, why we stopped at 11 is because 11 is the end. But here now, we have 0. So you just have to know that, okay, you are taking it from the 0 column. Hope we are correct. Hope we are clear. So the mantissa will be 0414. Why the difference is 1? You go and look for the difference in 1, which is 4. So you just add 4 here. You have 0418. So your answer will be, adding your characteristics, 3.0418. So this extra class is just to clear when you have 0 here, look for it in the 0 column. Hope we are clear. And some of us wonder, what if you have more alphabet? Well, that's not part of the scope of this class. The idea is that even if you have more alphabet, anything you solve, remember, these things are all coming in decimal. So when you add more decimal here, most times is, you understand, when you solve for a number and you place, this is 4 decimal place, you have 4 decimal place, you've done enough justice. Any other thing you are adding, yeah, that's if you want to get the accurate value, but solving with 4 decimal places is already enough to give you something very close to your answer. Thank you.